God has a plan for each and every one of us. And the paths that our lives take are in preparation for that plan. Now, my father and his father before him were entrepreneurs. So I grew up helping dust furniture, go to the furniture market with my father, and worked in his furniture business, learning the art of entrepreneurship. Never dreaming that I would do anything other than possibly come back because I loved that and work for my father in his furniture business. I studied interior design at Auburn and almost became a flight attendant before settling down in Troy to raise my two little girls, Charlotte and Chrissy. And I became the interior designer for wood furniture companies. And I was sure that I was on the path that I was supposed to be on. But that love of cooking and baking just never left my heart. It's always been my greatest passions. And I was always the happiest when I was in the kitchen. I've often told my husband, George, that if something happens to me and he decides that I need to be put somewhere, well, just tell him to put me in the kitchen and I'll be just fine. And I'll stay right there and it'll all be great. But by 1989, I had begun running a little bitty catering business called the Silver Spoon. And that year, our church had a frozen food fair. And that's where the ladies made their favorite dishes and froze them, and we sold them at a bazaar. Well, I had never frozen my rolls before because I thought you had to bake them fresh the day of the party or the day you were going to serve them. But it was a frozen food fair, so I froze about 20 pans of rolls. And when they thawed and slacked out and were baked, they were true to form and they were delicious. So I will say this. You did mention that my grandmother, we affectionately called her Gami, and she took me home with her when I was only 12 years old and taught me how to make these wonderful little rolls of hers. And I think from the inception of my business and the beginning thoughts about it, I've had three beings that were the very most important part of it. And all three of their names start with G. Gami taught me how to bake these wonderful rolls. And then God showed me that I could freeze them and they would still be wonderful. So by the third frozen food fair, they had taken orders for my rolls and called me and said, we've got over 300 orders for your rolls. And I said, well, stop taking orders. And I taught 10 wonderful ladies and one exceptional gentleman how to make these rolls. And we set up an assembly line process in the church kitchen, and we proofed in Sunday school rooms with space heaters and ran around everybody's kitchens around the neighborhood of the church and baked them off. And it was just really wonderfully hard work, but it was